Hello everybody and welcome to Car Confections and welcome to part 2 of our Chevy Equinox EV review. In today's part we're going to be driving this vehicle. There's a lot to talk about here and we can't wait to show you. So let's go ahead and get into that without further ado. In this test drive, we're going to be talking about quite a few different things, as you can see on the screen right now, including getting our sound level reading. But first, we want to go ahead and start by giving you a hard acceleration so you can see the performance of this new Equinox EV.
All right, there's a nice acceleration up to 60 miles per hour with the Equinox EV. So, as far as your power figures, we discussed, some preliminary information in part 1, but let's remind you guys what we are looking at. So this is the front wheel drive model. That means we have a single electric motor, but we still do have plenty of power on board. It's going to be making 213 horsepower and 236 pound-feet of torque. So like I said, that is overall a very good number for this compact SUV class. And, when you're looking at a comparison to, say, something like the ICE Equinox, that's going to be setting at only 175 horsepower. So you do have a significant advantage, especially in terms of torque.
Yeah, I think that's going to be really a main sticking point for this test drive portion, and we've been driving around this Equinox EV for quite some time at this point, and when you get off the line, it really does feel a lot faster than a traditional ICE Equinox would. We've sampled out that powertrain many different times, and I definitely appreciate the torque. Now, as far as the 0 to 60, Chevy did provide those figures, so it's going to be about 8 seconds with the front-wheel drive version. If you choose the all-wheel drive version, you are going to get more power because you have dual electric motors. That's going to be rated at 288 horsepower and 346 pound-feet of torque. So a pretty substantial boost in performance if you choose the all-wheel drive version. Do keep in mind that is going to hinder your range a little bit, so that is an important thing to consider. And really, when it comes to this segment of vehicle, I'm not really sure power is the main concern. So that is just a lot to consider there.
Yeah, we'll get into the range figures, in a little bit, but obviously, like Mason said, that bigger number that people are really looking for is the range number, and to get the most compelling range, you will need to get the front-wheel drive example.
Yeah. The 0 to 60 on the all-wheel drive does go down about 2 seconds overall, so it's going to be a 6-second 0 to 60.
Yeah. This amount of power is going to be more than enough for most people, that's for sure. Especially, like we said, if you're coming from that traditional ICE that really has to work up to building the power. This is just instantaneous because electric vehicles, you don't have a transmission or anything. You're just going to have instantaneous power and torque on board.
Now, I do want to just go ahead and get out of the way some of those important figures that I know you're looking for in this test drive part. One of those figures would be the range. So we kind of alluded to this earlier, but if you choose the front-wheel drive version, you are going to get a higher range figure. That's because all of the Equinox EVs are going to have the same battery size. So all versions have an 84 kilowatt hour lithium ion battery pack. So that means for the front wheel drive version, you're going to have 319 miles of EPA estimated range. So that is a very, very impressive figure, especially considering that the front wheel drive 1LT, which is not quite available yet, but will be available soon, starts at around $35,000 and still gets the tax credit. So you could be looking at well under the $30,000 price point and getting 319 miles of EPA estimated range. That's very, very good for really any EV out right now.
Yeah, that's by far the most affordable above 300 mile electric vehicle, period. So, really compelling. in that regard.
Yeah, now, if you choose all-wheel drive, that does impact your range. It's not bad by any stretch of the imagination. It goes down to 285 miles of EPA estimated range. However, honestly, if you want our professional opinion, I think that I would choose the front-wheel drive version to get the maximum amount of range and to save a little bit of money. It seems plenty quick enough in this version for most people in this compact SUV segment. Now, as far as charging is concerned, we do have charging speeds that are pretty fast. It's capable of 150 kilowatt charging, so that does mean that you can get 77 miles of range in as little as 10 minutes. So that's pretty fast charging overall. And then as far as your home charging figure, it is capable of speeds of up to 11 kilowatts. So overall, pretty fast charging for this model. And, you know, you might need to charge a little bit if you accelerate hard and stuff. We're in sport mode now. That burns a little bit more battery.
I mean, look at that. Really easy to get up to highway speed with this front wheel drive example. Also, I'm impressed by the way it puts the power down. We've had no tire spin or anything like that with the front wheel drive example. I can feel just a little torque steer because obviously you do have quite a bit of torque when you're just hard on the throttle, but overall it just has a very, instantaneous feel, pretty agile feel as well. So we kind of went off that ramp a little bit, went around some corners. There is a little body roll. This is not designed to be a super sporty SUV, but when you put it into sport mode, it firms up the steering quite nicely. It also, really makes the throttle feel a lot more responsive so that you don't have to, mat it all the way to the ground to get that nice pushback in your seat sensation.
Now that we're just kind of cruising along the highway, though, I think it would be a great time for us to talk about your overall ride quality with this Equinox EV. So far, I've been very impressed. We are in the 2RS model, so that means we do have pretty large wheels on the outside. And overall, I think the ride quality is pretty solid. We're up here in Detroit today, so you may know that the roads are not the best up here sometimes. So we definitely hit some bumps in the road. You can feel some penetration inside the cabin, but I think we were talking off camera. I think the seats are very, very comfortable, so that kind of makes up for any type of penetration you feel from the large wheels that you get on the outside. So overall, I'm very happy with the ride quality. I think it's very class competitive. All right, and one of the things that we do in all of our Car Confections review is get a sound level reading going 55 miles per hour. Now, we are not in our home state of Kentucky, but we want to give you guys this number as a reference point. $57 appears to be what we've settled in at in this Equinox EV. We're clogging up traffic a little bit here on the road. But 57 decibels is actually quite a good number. And I don't have to sit here and guess because I can go to carconfections.com/sound level readings. And on our website, we posted all the cars that we've reviewed on this channel, all other EVs that we've reviewed, as well as a ton of the rivals in this compact SUV segment. Now, as far as how that compares to all other electric vehicles, it is going to put it right about in the middle of the pack. And when it comes to compact SUVs specifically, both electric and gasoline options, it's actually going to be decently quiet for a compact SUV. Of course, you don't have an engine making any type of noise because it's an electric vehicle. So I think once we are able to hopefully get this vehicle back home in Kentucky and test it on our home stretch of road, not on the highway, I think you'll actually be very impressed with the amount of noise entering into this cabin. I will say, though, maybe the windows aren't too thick. You can kind of hear the cars as they drive by pretty distinctly, but overall...
It may just be the lack of other noise. By the way, speaking of noise, you do have some EV sound effect that you can also change as well. This has a My Mode, so you can customize what characteristics you want in terms of normal, comfort, and sport mode, and you also can turn on and off that sound effect.
And now we're going to show off one of the coolest features about this Equinox EV, and that's that we have available SuperCruise. Now, mind you, this is something that won't be available on the gasoline version of the Equinox, even the all-new one coming up. So that's an important distinction here.
Yeah, and this is also perhaps the most affordable way that you can get SuperCruise, I believe, in the General Motors lineup.
Yeah, I think it might be. And we drove around SuperCruise for well over an hour yesterday, and we're trying it out again here up in Detroit on the interstate. And SuperCruise is a very advanced highway drive assist that allows you to be completely hands-free. And as far as from our professional opinions, we think that this is by far the best, hands-free system that's out there right now. It is very intelligent. It actually allows for auto lane changing. So
we'll see if we can get that to activate here in a sec. But yeah, I definitely would like to show off the auto lane change as well.
Yeah. So when you start to approach a vehicle, it should just go ahead and sense that and actually switch lanes for you if the lane next to you is clear. We sampled that out quite a bit yesterday, and it worked pretty flawlessly, even in heavy traffic.
Here it goes, actually. Ironically, as soon as we said that, see, where it sensed that I'm coming up on this Corolla a little bit faster than they're going, and it went ahead and switched into the next lane so that we could overtake them. And very seamless. It's very reassuring as well with its overall operation.
All right, now let's go ahead and get into our Car Confections Slam Dunk and Airball, which is our favorite and least favorite element about the Equinox EV. Drew, why don't you kick us off with the Slam Dunk?
The Slam Dunk has got to be just the value for the money, like what you are getting. As we have discussed in part one, I mean, most EVs tend to end up falling greater than $50,000 at the end of the day. And this is legitimately affordable, yet it doesn't feel like you're compromising on a lot, and you definitely get all the most important things, such as your range, decent power, and good equipment.
Yeah, on the Airball side of things, we really honestly struggled to come up with something which is a little bit of a testament for this vehicle, but one of the things that we don't like is that GM eliminated Android Auto and Apple CarPlay wirelessly out of this display. I think that's just kind of stupid. People want the option. I do like that Google is built in here, don't get me wrong. I think that's a great win, but they want the option. So
and you would get the option if you had the ICE version. Yeah. So I think they should keep that parity between the two of them.
Lastly, as far as your warranty is concerned, you do have a 3-year 36,000-mile basic, 5-year 60,000-mile powertrain warranty. You additionally do have a battery-specific warranty of 8 years and 100,000 miles. And that's really where we're going to leave off on part 2 of our Chevy Equinox EV review. We want to remind you again, if you haven't already seen part 1 where we cover all the exterior, interior details of this vehicle, go ahead and watch that video. I'm sure you'll want to learn more about this Equinox EV, so do yourself a favor and go ahead and watch that video. If you're new to the channel and aren't already a subscriber, we would encourage you to hit that subscribe button down below. Not only are you going to join in on this Car Confections family, you're also going to get a lot more car content that I'm sure you won't want to miss out on, so please go ahead and do that. If you're already a part of our family, thank you so much for your continued support, and we'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.